Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I have yet another movie review. This movie is a drama from Chile, Spanish language English subs, released in the year 2014, directed by Alejandro Fernandez-Almendares, and this film is called To Kill a Man. So To Kill a Man takes place in a rough area of Chile. You've got a family, Jorge, his wife, his daughter and his son, that are living in fear in this very local community because there is a local thug who is ruling by an iron fist. So everyone's scared of this guy, and Jorge in particular. So this thug, he's basically in the area. He robs Jorge one night when he's coming home from the groceries, and so Jorge is absolutely fed up by this, but they're just trying to keep a low profile and stay out of his radar. So one evening, Jorge's son is shot by this thug in the stomach, so his son goes to hospital for 3 months while the thug is put into prison because Jorge's father has testified against him. So he goes to prison for a year and a half. After that year and a half sentence, he comes back out and he's absolutely livid at Jorge because he sees him as the reason why he suffered behind bars for all this time. So he's going to make Jorge and his family's life a living hell. He throws stones at their house. He's constantly threatening them, and the police have absolutely no power to do anything about it because of all the legal loopholes. So one afternoon, Jorge's daughter is sexually assaulted by this thug, and once again this goes unpunished. So this sends Jorge over the edge, and he is going to have to dish out his own bit of justice in order to protect his family. So he's going to go down a very deep and disturbing road that is going to lead him to basically contemplate something, to do something that he never would initially think of. So what that thing is, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on To Kill a Man. I thought this was a very interesting film, and it was a very realistic film, and it does tackle very relevant problems in today's society, especially here in South America, and that problem is the law enforcement, the people that have been sworn to protect us as the public, and when they're not doing their job, feeling as though you're the only source of your family's protection. So in this case you've got Jorge, very lovable character. He is a law-abiding citizen, he pays his taxes, he does everything right, but when this thug is imposing the danger upon his family, the people that are sworn to protect you are not doing their job. And this is a very relevant problem not only in Chile but in Argentina and a lot of other countries in South America where the crime rates are so high because of the lack of competence from the people that are in charge with enforcing the law. And so I think this movie is a vent of that frustration. I thought it vented the frustration in the most realistic way possible, and I think that because of its realism, it's going to get the message out there a lot more. This is not a movie made for entertainment's sake, and I think the everyday movie viewer is going to find this movie very boring. Now ultimately the movie does have its problems, but I thought it really did pay respect for what it was trying to do. It was trying to open people's eyes into what the problems are in South America and that everyday families, what they're faced with. And I thought that, you know, the good versus bad aspect of it was very, very well done. I thought Jorge was just a very simplistic character. None of the characters were in depth. You didn't need any character development for really the movie to get its point across. And I thought that it was just the fact that it was so realistic, it paid respect. It's not stylized. It's not exploiting anything. It's just showing you one family and how they've come to this conclusion. Basically, the law enforcement have thrusted vigilantism upon this one person, and that makes it scary because these people are assigned to protect you. And so there are so many legal loopholes in South American politics in that these thugs, they almost get more rights than the actual people they're, you know, committing these crimes against. And so the movie, it just depicts a very harsh reality of life in Chile, and not only Chile as I said, but South America in general. And I also thought it touches on the subject of To Kill a Man. Now, ultimately, it is not as easy as, you know, Hollywood American films would make it out to be. You know, bang, bang, shoot them, and then you carry on the rest of your day like nothing happened. But in reality, there is a lasting impact on actually taking the life of another person, and the movie really confronts that. And I thought that it really puts it out on the table, and it shows you the absolute, you know, devastating effect that it can have on one person, and that it's not so easy, and that I'm not going to tell you if he actually does commit this act, but I thought that when he's contemplating it, it's really tearing him apart. So this guy is not a superhero. He's not a bulletproof hero. He is a very realistic hero because he's got no other choice. He doesn't want to have to do this, but he feels that he has to do it in order to protect his family. And the fact that it's come to this stage is what makes the film so depressing to start with. Thought the cinematography was absolutely excellent. Thought it felt like a lower budget, which I thought helped it because it actually felt the realism that it wanted to create. Thought that was beautiful in some areas and, you know, very ugly in others. It shows you the ugly side of humanity, and it does show you, you know, the ugliness that can be, you know, forced upon a very good person, and that's ultimately what Jorge is. And he just wants what's best for his family, so you don't hate him for contemplating this, because you'll be asking yourself, will you do the same thing? And you obviously you don't know that answer until you've actually been put into this extremist situation that Jorge is now facing. So the acting from Jorge especially was fantastic. The acting from the villains was very good. As I said, they're very caricature villains without a shred of decency, but I thought that helped the film because it wasn't trying to show you the other side of evil. It was basically showing you how incompetent the law enforcement is and how frustrated the public are at this, and they want the law enforcement to do better to protect these people so these situations never come front. So I thought that was fantastic, and I thought the ending was very well done. It was a different ending than what I was expecting. So the movie doesn't glamorise violence. There's hardly any violence in the film. It doesn't glorify the sexual assault, so it's not an exploitation film, it's not an action film. It's just a very realistic portrayal of a very real problem, and it also shows you the confronting sort of nature that it is to actually take another person's life. So unfortunately though, although the movie is very interesting, it does have its problems. Now it goes for 82 minutes. And I thought for a movie of this series it needed to go for a lot longer because then you could have delved into the lives of this family a little bit more. I thought that it was a little bit rushed getting to the point that it wanted to get to. So although it is very thought-provoking, although it's very realistic, it's not as high impact as the director wants it to be because you don't have enough time to invest in their situation. You know that these are good people, but you don't invest in the situation because it doesn't feel like it's building up. It feels like it's bang, 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 and then all of a sudden he's going into vigilante stage. And you don't feel the sense of frustration that this character has because you feel like it's skimming the surface. And that 82 minutes, it's a very fast runtime, so it doesn't really have time to delve into it. So you don't soak yourself into these characters as much as you probably should. And although you like Jorge as a character, it would have been a lot better if you got more of an input into their day-to-day lives. So basically he goes into this vigilante role before you really get an overall sense of the desperation that this character is going through. So the runtime is ultimately what makes the film lesser in quality. I thought that it was a little bit bland here and there. As I said, it's not a movie that's going to entertain the everyday movie viewer, so it's definitely for a very acquired taste. But putting those criticisms aside, I thought this was a very relevant subject, especially with South America and the falls, according to the law enforcement, the people that have been sworn to protect us. And I think it's a movie that will get a lot of people talking. So it is a movie that has got a lot of recognition from the Cannes Film Festival and the Sundance Film Festival in 2014. So it has got the attention. And so if you haven't seen To Kill a Man, I would highly recommend you do so. It will make you think and it will show you how devastating it can be to even contemplate taking another person's life. So overall for this movie, I thought it was definitely worth at least one viewing. Whether or not you're going to want to replay the film, I doubt it, because it just doesn't have that lasting impact because of the runtime. But it's still definitely a movie I would recommend if you're a fan of foreign films. So overall, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies and I'll see you later.